If you're on the wrong side of US President Donald Trump, you certainly know about it. Right now, the focus of his fury is the World Health Organization. He accuses the WHO of being China's lapdog and says it's responsible for helping the communist regime hide the true extent of the coronavirus disaster. As punishment, Trump has withdrawn American funding to the organisation. Australia also has questions about the WHO, what it did in China and when. By comparison with the President, though, our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, is more diplomatic. He wants a review of the WHO's role, but he's also proposed the health body be given additional powers. Here's Liz Hayes.
The struggle against epidemics is a global one, for the danger of death is worldwide. Then, what is the answer? Within the framework of the United Nations, a new organization exists to promote the welfare of all people, the World Health Organization.
The WHO was born in 1948 from a post-war determination that disease was just another enemy that the world, united, could defeat.
The quarantine service can't keep every plane and passenger grounded for several days. Today, epidemics must be crushed at the very source.
The World Health Organization has done an enormous amount of good in the world. It has the budget the size of about one large U.S. hospital, and it does all of that for peanuts.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Professor Lawrence Gostin of Georgetown University in Washington, D.C., has been a senior advisor to the WHO for 3 decades.
Currently, the WHO says vaccine hesitancy is one of the top 10 global health problems.
In his time, he has seen the organisation successfully mobilise health resources to fight other epidemics like HIV, Ebola and SARS. But faced with the greatest challenge in its history, the coronavirus, the WHO's critics, led by Donald Trump, have declared it a failure.
Today, I'm instructing my administration to halt funding of the World Health Organization while a review is conducted to assess the World Health Organization's role in severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the coronavirus.
Right now, I couldn't imagine a worse time in human history, at least in living history, when it would be the wrong thing to do to embroil the World Health Organization in a geopolitical power struggle between the world's 2 superpowers.
There's almost universal acceptance that China covered up the outbreak of coronavirus in Wuhan, potentially turning a local epidemic into the catastrophic pandemic it has become. The question is, was the WHO, and particularly its Director General, Dr. Tedros, aware of China's great lie?
The Chinese government is to be congratulated for the extraordinary measures it has taken to contain the outbreak.
Their role is to warn the world when there's a potential global pandemic on the brink, and under his leadership, they completely failed.
US Congressman Michael McCaul is the most senior Republican on the Foreign Affairs Committee and former chairman of Homeland Security. And he is gunning for the WHO's Director General, Dr. Tedros.
He was literally like acting as an arm of the Chinese Communist Party, or a puppet, if you will, parroting the Chinese Communist Party's lies. And, you know, it's sad because it could have been a different situation if we'd been able to contain this. And instead, the entire world is shut down.
Even Professor Gostin agrees that China covered up. But he says they did it to everyone, including the World Health Organization.
Professor, there are some truths in this terrible story that are hard to fathom. And ultimately, are we not getting down to that this pandemic didn't have to be?
No, it didn't. No. I don't think any of this would have happened had the virus escaped in a small village in Australia or the United States or Canada. I think the world would have been on top of it much sooner. But but we weren't with China. It was primarily China's fault, and WHO should have stood up. But literally, according to WHO rules, they cannot go into a country unless the country invites them. China was blocking them.
It's very clear. We send messages and signals to the WHO. We try to help.
In this global calamity, there was one canary in the coal mine, Taiwan. In December last year, Taiwanese experts and intelligence sources detected a mystery virus outbreak in Wuhan, one that might be transmitted between humans, requiring cases to be isolated. On December 31st, Taiwan tried to warn the World Health Organization by email, but it was ignored.
In your opinion, right back on December 31st, WHO could have done something very specific to prevent the spread based on that email?
Of course.
Kolas Yutaka is the spokesperson for Taiwan's national cabinet.
On the one hand, we wanted to get more information from the WHO. On the other, we wanted to share our observations with them. But we just couldn't get through the door.
With no response from the WHO, but knowing something was seriously wrong in Wuhan, Taiwan went into lockdown a full month before the WHO finally declared the coronavirus outbreak a global health emergency. As a result, Taiwan, with a population of 26 million, has just over 400 infections and 6 deaths in total.
Of course, Taiwan was blowing the whistle. They were sounding an alert. The world should have listened, including the World Health Organization. But we didn't, and we're in the situation we're in now.
In keeping with China's politics, the WHO denies Taiwan membership to its organisation and seems even not to want to acknowledge it. A stark illustration of that came during this interview between a Hong Kong journalist and a senior WHO doctor, Bruce Aylward.
Would the WHO consider Taiwan's membership? Hello?
I'm sorry, I can't hear you. I couldn't hear your question.
Okay, yeah, let me repeat the question.
The simplest question about Taiwan's membership brings the interview to an end. But America too is accused of playing politics.
Has your president decided to target the WHO because he needs to blame someone for what he has failed to do?
I can only speak for myself as the leader on the Foreign Affairs Committee in the House, and that is we are going to investigate what happened. We want to get to the bottom and the truth about what happened, whether that be the WHO or mostly the Chinese Communist Party.
Do you agree in suspending funding for the WHO? Because by doing that, even Bill Gates has said that's a dangerous decision.
I'm all for funding the WHO, but I don't think you can reform the WHO with its current leadership.
The world has the WHO that it deserves because it gives it very little funding, the size of one U.S. hospital. It gives it no political backing. And the fact that the President of the United States can just withdraw funding because you get on the wrong side of America just shows you it's proof positive that the countries around the world don't have WHO's back.
There's no doubt that all the nations in our post-pandemic world need to make some serious decisions about the WHO. Not one, not even Donald Trump, is talking about getting rid of it. And Prime Minister Scott Morrison has attracted a lot of international support after his call this week to strengthen the WHO.
If there is a virus of this nature that is believed to be of pandemic potential and very dangerous to the world, well, we need to know what's going on, and fast, very fast.
The PM is calling on the world to give the WHO more money and more authority to act without being beholden to any country.
We need to give it the funding and the political support that it needs to be able to literally say, no, Mr. President, no, Mr. Prime Minister, you're wrong. This is the way it's got to be. But right now, that's just not a reality. Maybe it takes this kind of earthquake, tsunami, for us to actually do what we need to do to make for a stronger World Health Organization.
It's come at a terrible cost, though, hasn't it?
It's coming at an unfathomable cost. If you think about, the suffering, the deaths, the fear, the likes of which we've never seen and we may never see again in our lifetimes, we hope.
Hello, I'm Tara Brown. Thanks for watching. To keep up with the latest from 60 Minutes Australia, make sure you subscribe to our channel. You can also download the 9Now app for full episodes and other exclusive 60 Minutes content.